Hi boys and girls, this is lesson 312, tenths of a centimeter. In this lesson you will learn about millimeters and how to convert from centimeters to millimeters. So you're going to pick up a centimeter ruler from the front stool, cut it out, and you're going to use it to complete problems 1 through 4 on journal page 98. Here's what that page looks like. So it says cut out the ruler given to you. Yep, you know that. You're going to use it to measure the pencils to the nearest centimeter. So you'll take care of that. Oops. And then 2 says one pencil is longer than the other. Which pencil is longer? And then 3, how did you figure out which pencil is longer? Really explain that. I want to make sure that even a kindergartner could understand what you're trying to say when they read 3. And then 4, Marco wants to know the difference in length between the 2 pencils. Can you tell him? Why or why not? Okay, those are the 4 things you're going to be completing. Completing. And when you're done with that, you'll come back to the video to check to see if you have those answers right, and then we'll continue. Okay, so hopefully you saw that it was about 12 centimeters for each one of those pencils, but pencil B is a little bit longer. Here's what you might have said when you were looking to answer how you knew that B was a little longer. I measured both. Pencil A is a little bit shorter than 12 centimeters, so I rounded to 12 centimeters. And pencil B is a little bit longer than 12 centimeters, so I rounded to 12 centimeters. And then on question 4, you really can't tell Marco the difference in length between the 2 because the ruler that I had you pick up isn't detailed enough, precise enough in order to be able to find the difference. So you need a ruler that has smaller units. Okay, if that's not what you have written down, fix yours up so that is what you end up having written down. Okay, then here's a different ruler. Well, look at that one. You can see the fold line going down the center, and above the fold line you have centimeters, but below you have millimeters. Take a look at the difference there. I hope you're picturing place value and how we know place value. Every time we go to the right in place value, it's like dividing by 10, or if we're going to the left, wanting to think in multiplication, going from right to left, we'd be always multiplying by 10 to get there. So keep that in the back of your mind. So what personal benchmark could you use for a millimeter? It's really thin, right? So I was thinking maybe the thickness of a dime, like if you turn a dime on its side and you're picturing just how thick is it, not very thick, or the thickness of a paper clip, the wire of the paper clip, not when you're looking down on it, but if you turned it on its side, what would that look like? Pretty thin. So then let's talk about how many millimeters are in 1 centimeter. So if you take a look up above, you can see here that we could see the 1 centimeter. And if you look down to the millimeters, how many are there? Yeah, 10. And then let's look at the next questions down below. So it says, when a centimeter is the whole, which is what I'm showing you here, the whole is 1 centimeter, what fraction of a centimeter is 1 millimeter? So you're thinking back up here again. So we're saying this centimeter is a whole. How many are there of millimeters in it? And I'm talking about 1 of them. So hopefully that helps you to figure out that the fraction would be, oops, I'm going to do it in red. Yep. Hopefully you're getting 1 out of 10, 1/10, right? And then how could I write that fraction as a decimal? Well, I think we know 1/10 by now. I could put a 0 in front of that if I wanted, right? On this side, I could put a 0 there if I want. Ooh, boy, that didn't turn out like it was hoping. Let's try that again. I could put a 0 in front of that if I want to. It doesn't change the value. And then if I was going to write that in words, hopefully you'd say 1 Now, so based on what we just talked about, let's look at those bottom three questions. How many millimeters then in 0.5 centimeters? 0.5 centimeters, so not even one whole, half of one, right? 5/10 centimeters. So how many would that be? If you look down, hopefully you would be able to tell me. It would be 5, and then we'll label it millimeters. Millimeters. Make sure you're labeling. Okay, so 5 millimeters. How about in 3.5 or 3.5 centimeters? Take a look at that. What do you think? I hope you think 35 millimeters. And I do that by looking at the 3.5 and looking down, and it's 35. How about 8.6 centimeters? Go and find that on that ruler, 8.6. It's not marked, right? 8.5 is marked. 8.6 just go over one little line. So then what would that be for millimeters? Hopefully you get it would be 86 millimeters. I hope you're with me. If not, go back and listen to this part of the lesson again, checking it on that ruler up top. Okay, so now you're going to fold that ruler in half, hot dog style, along that fold line, the center line. And you're going to complete problem 5 on journal page 98. That's the one we had done 1 through 4 already. First with the centimeter side, then with the millimeter side, and you're going to measure to the nearest 1/10 of a centimeter and to the nearest millimeter. Okay? Now just keep this in mind. To understand fractions or decimals, we have to always know what the whole is, right? What are you comparing it to? 5/10 of what? You need to know what that what is. So in previous lessons, we've used the flat as the whole, or as the one, and we've used the meter as the whole, or the one. This time we're really talking about the whole being 1 centimeter. So keep that in mind as you try to answer those questions, or that question, problem 5. Okay? Keep it in the back of your mind. Whoa. Don't want to show you that yet. So go solve that. When you're ready, come on back and take a look at that next slide. And there we go. So if we used the centimeters first, then the millimeters, hopefully we were able to say with the centimeters 11.7 centimeters long, which is 117 millimeters long. And we could do that by comparing on the same ruler, but we asked you to make sure you're doing each side. Hopefully that makes sense to you. And then you can see the bottom one as well. We'll talk about that in class. Okay, then we're going to talk a little bit about precipitation, another way for us to practice our understanding of centimeters and millimeters. So I'm giving you the student reference book, the SRB page. I made a picture of that for you here so you can see it. And the first thing I want you to think about is finding the amount of precipitation for Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City out there in Utah. Go find that. And hopefully you see that it says 3.1. And hopefully you would know to say that 3.1 centimeters. I wrote that out for you. And then down at the bottom, I just wanted to add in for you something. I think you might want to write this note here in your notebook to make sure that you have this correct. So when you're reading numbers that are mixed numbers, wholes and decimals, keep these things in mind. Read the whole number, so that's the part to the left of the decimal point, right? and then say and when you get to the decimal point. Then read the digits after the decimal point as though they are a whole number, and then immediately say tenths or hundredths, depending on the placement of the final digit. So, for example, if I was going to say this, I would say 3 and 23 hundredths. So 23, I'm going to read it like a regular number, but then I'm adding hundredths because that's where the final number is. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Just thought I'd throw that in to give you a little help. Okay, the rest of this lesson we will do together in class. Thank you.